Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Deadwood series. We have reached episode 1 of season 3 and it is called Tell Your God to Ready for Blood. That is an ominous title if I have ever heard one. Last episode went absolutely bananas the last 10 minutes. I'm trying to still remember everything that happened in sequence, but basically Mr. Wu got the better of Mr. Lee, and with Dan and a few of the other guys of Owl's help, they managed to take out Lee's guys and Lee himself, so Wu has won the war of the Chinatown district of Deadwood. Obviously Miss Garrett and Ellsworth got married in amongst all the mayhem, so congratulations to them. The big guy is up and walking after getting shot over at Sai's place. He has asked if he can be security at Joni's brothel. No idea whether they're gonna go along with that or not, but he is alive and well. The preacher slit open Sai's belly with a blade. I don't know if he's mortally wounded or if it was just a little flesh wound, but he seemed to be struggling at the end of that last episode. We can only hope and pray that it is fatal, but I've got a feeling that Sai might survive that and the priest might be in some trouble. This episode is called Tell Your God to Ready for Blood. That sounds like something Sai would be saying to the preacher after surviving the wound. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that though. Mr. Horst showed up and instantly bought the hotel off of Farnham. Farnham seemed quite happy with the exchange at the end. He got 100k and got to stay on as manager. Meanwhile, Mr. Horst is already sledgehammering down walls mid-wedding because he can do what he wants. And then, as a cherry on top of the icing, on top of an already delicious looking cake, Mr. Walcott hung himself after he was fired by Mr. Horst. What a brilliant end to a scumbag character, and I'm so happy we do not have to see Mr. Walcott ever again. Good riddance. Great actor, played both the parts of Jack McCall and Mr. Walcott very well. No matter how he is cast, he is a horrible villain apparently. Brilliant acting performance, but yeah, I am glad to never have to see that piece of shit Mr. Walcott ever again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this as always, so let's get into it. This is episode 1 of season 3, Tell Your God to Ready for Blood. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. I suppose I actually better start thinking soon as to what show I'm gonna be reacting to next when this finishes. I haven't even barely thought about it yet because I've been enjoying Deadwood so much, but about halfway through this season I'm gonna start seriously having a good think and putting up the poll on Patreon as to what everybody wants to see next. Hopefully it is half as good as this. Oh, we're back. I'm so happy to see this new season. I've been waiting for this all week. Last episode was so insane.
Fixing toward a bloody outcome, boss.
Absent and myself don't change your fucking instructions.
Bloody outcome toward what? Even bloodier than the last episode? That would be impressive. Why is Mr. Horst underneath his bed? Is that just how he sleeps? Is he that worried about assassination?
We've got the part.
Now will he?
Part.
Stand and show.
Where the fuck are these guys from?
Hey!
What the fuck?
Leave him be or you'll be riding the goddamn sled with him! Get out!
Is this just a random two groups having a disagreement? This is seemingly out of nowhere. I don't even know any of these characters.
Good day.
That was a very confusing opening disagreement there. How many people have now died in Al's establishment over the course of this show? That's got to be at least 4.
Shall I gather my school supplies?
I'm much obliged.
What is Seth so nervous about? This episode has got me already so confused as to what's going on. I wonder if Ellsworth's expecting some action now that he's married.
The settee is best sited with its spread upon it. Would be your mother's idea.
What a crazy character arc Ellsworth's had, from panning for gold in a river to marrying the most wealthy woman in the town. He has chased the money from day one. What in the fuck? Why did she faint? How many questions am I going to ask in this opening 10 minutes? Is that just because she's married?
As to your meeting with Hurst, if the chance comes up natural, stomp on the cocksucker's foot.
Ellsworth doesn't like Hurst. I personally, so far, really do like Hurst.
Yes, ma'am.
And the big guy is officially security to Joni's place. Well, at least he's got himself a little job.
Stubbs holds what I'm doing for honor.
She no more needs a watchman than she does a fucking balloonist.
Kind of agree with Jane. Plus, Jane is probably a better watchman. Plus, isn't this guy rich? What does he need this job for?
Go get your load on, Jane.
Do not instruct me how to spend my day!
It's nice to see Jane hasn't changed a bit. I've missed her.
You tub of blubber and guts!
It's good to see her back in her natural attire. She was a bit out of place in the wedding garments last week. Oh shit, she's back on the liquor. I could kinda tell that by her disposition, but I thought maybe that's just how she was choosing to roll, sober or not.
Framing of a drain.
He's saying that to you, sir.
Guy's just desperate to use his camera whenever he can.
No doubt on some menial domestic errand.
I love how Farnham basically voices the thoughts in his head as he's observing people. He's still a rat, but he's a hilarious one.
Yes.
Back in the days when whores got a bit of respect.
Morning got a little busy. The Cornishman killed in the gym. His buddies come babbling to our office.
I take it those guys are just quick to pull their guns on people. Their only reason for shooting that man was that they were talking funny to him or something. Doesn't sound like the most warranted reason to shoot someone dead, but you know, we are in Deadwood. Best friends for life.
I intend no lengthy remarks. My tenure as mayor speaks for me.
Farnham is still mayor, right? We've never seen him step down from that position. I know he's just sold the hotel, but...
You hurted me.
Wash and stack, shit monkey. Or ready yourself for worse.
Chipmonkey, wow, what a piece of shit Farnham can be sometimes. It's never nice to see Farnham talking down to anybody. But that guy seems quite simple-minded and relatively peaceful a guy, so don't like to see him getting disrespected.
I know that, you ignorant cocksucker.
Joni Stubbs is a cocksucker.
I know that.
Unfortunately, an accurate description of Joni.
Give us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Damn, is that all the kids in Deadwood? The next generation is looking scarce.
How's Si? I don't know yet, Tess. None of your business anyway.
Why has Joni came to Si's place to look after him? I knew he wasn't going to be dead. I knew it was too good to be true to hope he was dead, but why has Joni returned to look after him at all? She should be happy he was stabbed.
What's next, Lila? If you ain't too fucking high.
Our room where we rest.
Which don't it?
Lila is definitely too fucking high.
And I ain't loaded not to smell it. Won't you go, girl? Won't you get to the muck where you're fucking headed anyway?
She looks like she's about to overdose. If you were a John, you would not want to hire that woman for sex. You would bring her to the doctor. Get stamped at, motherfuckers.
Another day on the right side of the ledger far as possible.
I'd like to think getting shanked will change Si, but I have a feeling as soon as he is back on his feet, he will be on a warpath.
He might have mistook Si picking Tess over Lila to see to him.
Lila's on the needle.
No shit, Si.
Where's my good book, honey?
It's just next to you, in the bedfold.
Oh, he's got a Bible. He did not strike me as a religious man. I didn't think so.
Star ends owning that house is the necessary fucking conclusion.
Is he referring to the hardware store? Did I get that right? Does he want Saul to give him back the property of the hardware store?
You could have said that before I went down.
Get in the kitchen.
I know people say that Al's being nice to Jewel, giving her a job at this place, but he's still a bit of a twat to her most days. But then he is helping her with her mopping, so you know.
Murder a Cornish, and you buy a Hurst for an enemy.
Oh, those guys were Hurst's men. Well, that makes it way more interesting.
Stages a murder in my fucking joint. Wants a bullet to show his ass before he'll bless his fucking candidacy?
That can't be the reason they were doing it. Just to make Seth show his authority. That makes no sense.
I'm in crisis too. Needing awfully to piss.
Can be a crisis if not dealt with.
Al wants Star to take over that house.
Why?
Keep my ruddy color, not asking Al's reasons.
So I did get it wrong. He wants Saul to take a house. Still confused as to the reasoning, but okay.
Your last day when you left. Disarray.
I sat on the bed.
Who the fuck is this guy? Is he another landlord? He is. Shaughnessy's, okay. I'm slowly getting it, don't worry people. I'll try my best not to ask too many questions, but confusion breeds questioning.
I won't stand for it.
Strange to hear a posh English accent in Deadwood though. Guy's fresh off the boat.
Star needs to move into that. He's a candidate for office. He can't whorefuck no longer with impunity.
So because Saul Star is a candidate in some way, he's going to give him his own house, and Trixie is going to stay at Shaughnessy's. Interesting motives.
Loopy cunt!
He nonchalantly got the last dig in there. Holy shit, she's still passed out. I hope she's okay.
As you lay in your beddy by, I'll pop from the wall like Grandma Groundhog in a storybook and attend to your Johnson.
Sounds like a good deal.
Shaughnessy's adjacent shitbox that he's paid Shaughnessy to cut a hole through to ease my fucking you.
Well, you didn't have to put it so miserably. Life could be way worse.
Quick prick suck, Bullock? Sally forth to meet the great man with unencumbered thoughts?
Seth is definitely not the quick prick suck type.
Why kill him in camp before witnesses?
Maybe his message to me, his domain includes my fucking joint, and to test your willingness.
Oh, so Horst organised the murder. It wasn't his guys getting murdered.
You, for love of his type, say, fuck yourself. No more illumination can come to us because you will have muddied the fucking waters.
So, best behaviour when you meet Horst, in other words.
The Cornish croaker woos out of fucking camp.
Don't let it get eaten.
Oh, absolutely.
No promises on the body getting eaten. Those pigs are always hungry. Don't fucking shoot yourself, Joni. That would be a horrible way to start season 3.
Till its crucial vein is exposed. Then Hearst will empty him out.
Again, voicing his innermost thoughts.
A partner with Saul Star.
Candidate for mayor. As you are for sheriff.
So if Saul's a mayoral candidate, that must mean that Farnham is no longer mayor.
The bank capitalized, as I understand, by Mrs. Alma Garrett Ellsworth.
Are we going to start to see a darker side of Mr. Horst this season?
I never said I'd take her your message.
Are you saying now that you won't?
You stay out of our fucking affairs.
Oh, Mr. Horst is sort of showing a different side of himself this season.
Excuse me.
I was hoping him and Seth would get along. Not looking likely.
What are you doing?
Shit. That's how much he likes Mr. Horst.
Call the law!
The guy with his antler totem. It's been long overdue that Farnham just got wailed on like that. Even though it was probably not justified in this particular instance, it was great to see.
Why are you beating Farnham in Mr. Hearst's hotel? How are you, sir?
I am well, Mr. Swearingen.
Seth's acting there as he turned back to look up at Horst was golden.
He's had an accident under your supervision.
A horrific accident, so tragic when these things happen. I hope he's going to be okay. He should watch his step in future.
You saw fucking nothing.
But the antler saw everything.
Leave the demons to God and trust the pain to me.
I hope this doesn't rekindle her addiction in any way. I'm sure the doc knows what he's doing.
A lady should not choose a man who chews tobacco.
Is this what they were teaching them back in the day? I don't see how that's fundamental learning, but decent life advice.
I came to shit in the privy, which is where you're supposed to be during school hours.
How's it feel to take one sitting up?
Not often we see someone get their last word in over Jane. That was a good comeback though.
Alters of the kind in the sentence are spelled T-A-R.
Yeah, English isn't the simplest to learn language. As if we have two alters and they mean completely different things. Was that necessary? Why didn't we just call alter something else? We're right assholes to the next generation. Learn that. Two alters. Two different meanings. Deal with it.
You were right about the killing. You didn't want it pursued.
So did Hurst organise that shooting just to see if Seth would pursue it legally or turn a blind eye to his doings?
How you gonna go at Hurst?
Don't I yearn for the days a draw across the throat made fucking resolution?
That's one thing I would love to see, but I know we won't see in this show. Hurst is so powerful, and I do not believe he met his fate in Deadwood, so whatever happens, Hurst is going to thrive.
Mrs. Ellsworth must remain a bed.
Well, the doc seems quite confident, but I'd like to know what the reason was.
Who the fuck are all these people?
The stages are going to be crowded.
That's what I want to know. Every new season introduces a bunch of new characters. I'm like, wait, what, who, when, why? Why was he shot? Who's this English-speaking dude? To be fair, if I can get through the way The Wire rolls, I can get through anything. The Wire basically introduced a new primary cast every season.
Told him business of mine.
Figured it was Farnham. Been me, I'd have gone ahead and killed him.
Agreed. Even if it wasn't Farnham that told Hurst about you and Miss Garrett, he deserved a punch or two to the face.
You gonna have dinner with us?
Maybe my last fucking meal if apoplexy takes me.
It better not be your last meal, Charlie. You need to be here for the entirety of season 3. I won't take no for an answer. Or a gunshot.
Am I entitled to the fucking livery abandoned by the nigger Hostetler leaving its stock to starve?
Oh great, horse ejaculator's still here. Good to see you again.
Not just to bait back a fled fucking nigger looking to steal what a white man's worked for?
This guy's racism is fucking difficult to listen to. I hope the General beats the shit out of this guy before the end of this season.
Why don't you just tend bar and let everybody punch you in the face?
Don't know if that's the best idea.
A story about your experiences, Jane, for the children to hear.
That'll be a heavily edited story.
I find myself for swearing amongst the young. And just now, I need my money for booze.
Even if she never stops drinking, God bless Jane.
I thought I left a bottle in here. Must have left it in the shit pile outside.
I would actually like to see her tell the kids a bit of her story. Obviously you can't tell the whole story, but some of it would be very interesting for them. Every time I see a shot of the town, it infuriates me that this show stopped and they just tore down that beautiful recreation of a western town. They should have left it standing and made it like a tourist location after they finished with this show. A friendship based on sticking your tongue out at one another. The purest of friendships.
If an accident befallen, however you want to fucking put it, might find a small part of you relieved.
I don't think Mrs. Garrett thinks like that. I think she would like to have a child. I think she'd be a good mother as well if the way she's treated Sophia is anything to go by. Well, aren't your sore eyes a sight for sore eyes?
I back you, B.
Beaten past recognition by a candidate for another office.
By the way, I think I've got it over the course of this episode. Is this because Yankton is now taking control of Deadwood? There has to be an election for the proper mayor now? Is that what it is? So Farnham will still be a candidate, but he will be up against other people now competing for the new position of official mayor? I think that's what it is.
Told me not to tell him, and I didn't.
So if Farnham didn't tell Mr. Hurst, who did give him the information?
Nurse your fucking wounds.
Thank you.
I do not mean here.
All right.
Nurse your wounds, but get the fuck out of my house. I know it was kind of unjustified in the moment, but Farnham has had it coming for 2 entire seasons, so one unjustified ass whooping sort of makes up for the 5 to 10 justified ones he should have already received.
Presentation of the candidates is the honor and privilege of the press.
That's off the presentation.
Farnham and Saul are the only 2 candidates, or are they just the 2 primary candidates?
Drink and fuck on the house, but do not attempt to detain me.
It's a fair deal.
The room. How much? Disarray.
No fucking disarray.
It's your room. Why don't you go and look? He seems like quite an interesting character so far. Very stuck up and uptight, but interesting.
Where does the sheriff get off taking off on one of your own.
I don't consider Bullock came here to beat Farnham. He and I had appointed to meet.
You kind of alluded to the fact you know he was fucking around with Miss Garrett, which caused him to, while wanting him to turn a blind eye towards a murder.
You ain't the center of the universe, in other words.
Exactly.
Don't that lead you to despair?
Definitely would have assumed it would.
Maybe the Cornish themselves were the object of the violence.
Well, they do tend to aggregate and...
When they say Cornish, do they mean just from Cornwall, UK? Or is Cornish like another word for like a different nation back in these times?
Bloodletting on my premises that I ain't approved, I take as a fucking affront.
Yeah, don't kill people in Al's place. Unless it's Al giving the orders, he doesn't like people getting killed in his establishment.
To those that would act against my interests, I cannot fucking argue with dangerous. Different from powerful, though.
It's nice to see Al putting his foot down towards Horst. I was wondering how this power dynamic was going to go down.
Spare the camp any danger, of however brief a duration.
Now that sounded like a threat. I think that's the first time I've seen Horst dissatisfied with a meeting he's had. It's good to see.
Fucking pagan. Tell your god they're ready for blood.
Well, I was completely wrong in my guess as to where that sentence was going to pop up, but allow that guy his antler worship, okay? It protected Miss Garrett once when she had a leisurely stroll through the town.
Adams made default on that house. Asks me to assume his note.
Also, Saul is going to have to do something incredibly shocking for him not to win this mayor candidacy if it's just a battle between him and E.B. Farnham. Saul for the fucking win.
The speeches are postponed.
Is Farnham turned for the worse?
Don't know about turn for the worst, but he's certainly going to find it hard to get his words out tonight.
A piss puddle. Must not have seen that when seating myself.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Jane. I really do want to see Jane stop drinking. It is so detrimental to her character and her ability to function.
Why is everybody fucking whispering all of a sudden?
I said I don't know.
It's a dramatic way of delivering dialogue, Jane. Get with it. I'd like to hear Jane whispering a little bit.
Every day takes figuring out all over again how to fucking live.
Amen to that.
There's no practical need for him to run the fucking camp. That's out of scale. It's out of proportion.
Says Al, who wants to run the camp himself. But still, if it was a choice between Al and Horst, I would definitely have Al. Which is something I never thought I'd say last episode of last season, but Horst is basically 180'd in this episode for me. Not that he's dislikable, but he's certainly adversarial now. Okay, and that was episode 1 of season 3 of Deadwood, Tell Your God to Ready for Blood, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Tell Your God to Ready for Blood, what did I think of that? Well, as always when a new season starts, a few new characters were introduced. Shaughnessy, who I don't think we'd seen before, the new landlord with some rooms to let, and these Cornish at the bar, one of them being shot in the opening scene. Still 100% not sure as to why that went down. I believe it was Horst arranging that to happen just to see how Seth would react to it legally and whether or not he was going to be able to get away with stuff with the sheriff of the town turning a blind eye to it. Also sort of provocative towards Al staging it on his premises, whether or not Mr. Horst just didn't anticipate Al would react like that, or if he was also doing it to see how Al would respond to it happening on his premises, remains to be seen. But yeah, like I was saying, Horst's character basically completely shifted for me this episode. I was gushing about him at the end of season 2, thought he was a really personable guy, loved the way he instantly fired Walcott after hearing that he'd killed women. Didn't expect him to be a complete adversary at the start of this season, which he seems to be. He definitely has eyes on taking over this whole camp, and I love the fact that Al is digging his heels in and is willing to fight him for this. Like I said, my knowledge of the real life history about this show isn't too great. It's something I'm going to research when it finishes, but my knowledge of Mr. Horst is he continued to be a very powerful person, and I don't believe he met his demise in Deadwood, which worries me that one way or another he is going to thrive throughout this season, but if Al can in some way oppose him and stop him from taking over this camp, it would be amazing to see. Seth's wife has now started teaching. She seems like she'll be a great teacher to these kids. Not much of a plot progression going on in the classroom, but it's good to see that she's got something to take her attention away from the fact she's lost a son, and it gives her her own purpose within the camp. And Saul is running against Farnham in the re-election for mayor. I'm not sure if it's just a re-election thing or because Yankton has now annexed Deadwood that they have to get an official mayor. Like I said, there's a few parts of this I'm putting into place slowly, but I'm not 100% on. Forgive me in the comments. Just let me know, but don't beat me up too much about it. This is a completely alien world to me. I'm a Scottish guy, just trying to figure it all out, and I'm doing the best I can. I watch each episode twice, so don't beat me up too much, but feel free to correct me when I do make my mistakes. And yeah, I so wish Jane would stop drinking. I mean, she's waking up in puddles of her own piss. She is clearly not able to function at an optimal level while drunk. Who is, of course, but you know, in seasons 1 and 2, you could kind of explain it away and forgive her for it because she was still getting shit done. Now at this point it seems completely detrimental to her character, and I love Jane, but I really want to see her stop drinking. I hope that arc happens some point in this season. And Miss Garrett fainted. I don't know if it was just because she was looking out the window and saw Seth and his wife walking Sophia to school, or there was another medical reason, but I hope she's okay and I hope she doesn't miscarriage or anything like that. She seemed like she was on the mend later on in the episode, so hopefully it was just a little scare and nothing more than that. And the highlight of the episode for me was definitely seeing Seth take out his anger at his meeting with Mr. Hurst on Farnham. Now, I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with Farnham. Some people find him endearing. I think he is a complete rat, but he is in some ways funny. I wouldn't go so far to say lovable, but there are slight redeeming qualities to his character because he does make me laugh from time to time. That being said, I know it was unjustified in the moment, but oh my god, I would have loved to have seen this guy get punched in the face several times throughout this show. So the way I see it, it was long overdue, and while unjustified in the moment, certainly when measured across the course of the entire show, completely justified. So yeah, it was great to see him finally get some fists to the face. All in all, a great start to season 3. I can't wait to see what happens next week as always. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron. It helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA. Peace.